Hello and welcome. This is Moomen Tonight, and my name is Abdul Hayi Moomen. And tonight we take a look at ICT and the effects of hacking. Now, you know, reliance on interconnected computer systems to enhance human progress is inevitable if a country is to cope with the pace of development using information and communications technology. Now, such reliance, however, exposes individuals, corporate entities, and most critically, sovereign nations to cyber attacks that has political actions. WikiLeaks is a classical example. Now, it became an embarrassment to many a nation as well as some high reputed individuals. Now, Ghana has recently fallen victim to activities of hackers as several of the country's websites have been attacked and which are yet to be fixed. Now, on our show tonight, we are joined by an IT expert and in the sector. He will help us understand the work of hackers and what it means for government websites to be hacked. I have been joined by Charles Nii Ayiku Ayiku. Charles Nii Ayiku Ayiku is the chairman of the New Media and Research Committee of the Institute of Public Relations. Nii Ayiku Ayiku, it's always a pleasure having you. And you know, since the last time we had a conversation that was on Talking Points, I've been very skeptical about using my smartphone. Yeah. And you also recall that it was that conversation started as a result of some interview we had here on GBC24 involving someone who was able to use the internet, you know, to deceive a lot of people. And it seems that's never going away. Now we hear even government websites have been hacked. And for us as lay people who do not know what hacking is, I'd like to start this conversation by asking you that straightforward question. What is hacking?
Yes, thank you very much, Alaji. I always call you Alaji, yes.
I wish.
And good evening to your viewers. Yes, we talk about hacking. We have two forms. We have ethical hacking, and then the other one, the one that are for bad motives. Now, hacking has to do with trying to identify certain weaknesses of vulnerabilities within a network infrastructure and systems. So for instance, if you have a system or a network infrastructure and you are not careful about tightening the security and there are weaknesses in these networks, it opens up for somebody who calls himself a hacker to use certain softwares and tools to penetrate into the system and then do whatever he wants to do with the system. So the person can penetrate into the system and then take control over the running of the system. Yes.
So if the ICT infrastructure was like somebody's home, then hacking could be like breaking.
Yes, breaking into, yes, because probably you did not lock your doors well, or you are not using the right padlocks, or you are not using the right keys. You understand? So anybody at all can enter into your house and then take control.
Or could it also be that I have the right key, I have strong locks, but the person has a stronger means of breaking in?
So that person is a professional hacker, somebody who is an advanced hacker.
So who are these people we refer to as hackers?
Yes, these are the same people who day in and day out are looking out for vulnerabilities, weaknesses in systems.
Could it not be that if I were the carpenter that you employed to, you know, do your carpentry work in your new home for you, and I am the one who manufactured the doors, that I am the same person who knows how to break the door? And so these hackers, can't we say that they're the same people who are the experts like yourself?
Not really, not really. You see, the IT or the network infrastructure is such that some, let's say for websites deal with codes or languages. We have PHP, we have ASP.NET, we have several languages. Now, when a website is popular, it exposes itself to a lot of hackers because they want to test the vulnerability or the strength of the website. Okay, so when, let's say, let's take the Ghana.gov.gh, the one that was hacked. It's a news website. Ghanaians in Ghana, Ghanaians abroad, people visit that site for information. So somebody visiting that site would want to just test the strength or the vulnerability, the weaknesses within the website. The person would also, usually these people understand web development, web technology. And so let's say a content management system like Joomla, Drupal, WordPress, they have their unique login details to the back end of the website. So if, let's say, I right click on a website, and please, this is for educational purposes.
Right.
Yes. When I right click, go to the page source, I can easily determine whether this website is a Joomla website, a Drupal website, or a WordPress website, because they have their line of codes. Okay, so when I get to the page source and I'm able to identify that this website is Joomla, Drupal, or a WordPress content management system, I know that for Joomla, it's the domain/administrator to log in, to go to the backend. If it is Drupal, then I know /user. If it is WordPress, then I know it's /wp-adm admin to have access to the backend. So when I get to the backend and I'm a hacker, there's lines of codes that I can put in there. So when I put in those lines of codes, it goes into the database, and then if it is correct, it gives me access to the website, into a database. When I get to the database, I can change all passwords, I can change all usernames.
Ordinarily, even for we, again, as lay people, if I want to even change my own password to, say, my Facebook account or even my email account, I'm first of all asked to confirm the previous one before I can proceed to change that password. So this person who is hacking in, how would he know the previous password in order to use that one first of all before he can go in through another password?
That's what we have and we call the SQL injection, right? The structured query language injection. This gives you access to the database, and the database has information about you right in the database. Your details, your username, your password, your email address. So if I'm able to run that code, that enter, that penetrates or injects into the database, I have control.
Wow.
So once I have control, the first thing I'll do is to deny you access to the system. Because if I don't deny you access to the system, you get back into the system, and then you also want to compete with me. So I'll deny you access to the system, do whatever I want to do. If I want to retrieve information, I retrieve the information. If I want to do whatever, I can just go there, do all my PAN logo and my everything. Yes. So I have access, I deny you access, I do what I want to do. If it's just for fun, later I can just deface, put something there and tell you it has been hacked, contact this and that, do this and that.
Nii, as a heavy dependent on the internet, I am very scared now.
You shouldn't be.
No,
you
I
shouldn't
am.
be.
But I am, because if I have signed up to internet banking, all my bank details are out there on some bank's websites, and now you tell me how easy it can be for someone to hack into even the government's website, then the bank's website will be nothing at all for such hackers. And if they do, then my little savings in the bank could be wiped away by some hacker somewhere.
Yeah, because it's little savings, I'm not sure you'll be a target. Maybe the target's the bigger savings. Okay. Yes, but that's on the lighter note. You see, I always talk about internet banking and the kind of access levels or access levels that we have in most of our platforms. Some of the banks, sometimes I wonder whether they understand the activities of hackers, because you only go through just some 2 steps to log into your online banking details. You know, and sometimes I wonder, and probably they've not been warned, but there are certain ways by which all banks interested in running internet banking can put certain measures in place. Now, it is not very easy for anybody to hack a website or to hack into systems. And hacking into a system is not a day's job, because you first have to understand the system that the people are running. So for instance, if I understand PHP, I understand a certain language, and the system they are using is, let's say, Oracle or any other system that I'm not familiar with, I cannot hack. I must understand. So they can spend days, weeks, months and years studying the system to understand how it works. They'll make several attempts at getting into the system, and when they achieve that several attempts by getting the system, then you are finished.
And but like I said, shouldn't be scared?
Yeah, shouldn't be scared, because there are measures. But I'm sure before you get to the end of the program, we talk about some of these measures you can put in place to secure our website, to secure our systems.
Again, I'm still scared, because when you look at online shopping, for instance, and for many people who now use iPads and tablets and all that, you know, you sign up to some application, and you're asked to pay for some of the items online. You have to enter your debit card details or your credit card details. All this is done on the net. And if those details are out there and there are hackers who can hack into the system, then we are not safe at all.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, or as I mentioned earlier, these institutions like the banks, also the banks, are putting in measures.
They are now putting in?
No, they are.
They are now putting in.
I mean, they are putting in, and I know some banks are not ready to go into online banking or internet banking because of this, because they are not ready. They are not sure about their capacity.
But the question I asked goes beyond just banking.
Yes.
Now, I have my bank card. I'm paying for some item over the internet, and I've been asked to enter my credit card details or my debit card details. This is not concerned with the bank. It's now some other entity.
Exactly. That's an e-commerce website where they are buying and where they buy and sell. They do all kinds of trade online. That's an e-commerce website. There are some which are very secured network. Now, just a little tip. When you open a website that demands for your credit card details or certain information, look on the address bar. On the left part of the address bar, you might find a symbol that looks like a padlock, a sign that denotes secured, or you realize that it's HTTP with an S. The S means that it's secured. You have to look out for that. Then at least you can heave some sigh of relief that, okay, this website or this e-commerce platform is safe.
But again, it's the same hackers who are the experts. So he knows that once the information is out there, that when you see S or the padlock sign, it means secured. He goes to create another website similar to that one and puts the same thing.
Exactly.
There.
So that means that you must be careful as a user when you are giving certain details. In fact, there is another kind of hacking known as the phone phishing. The phishing is PHISHING. With this, I don't know whether it's been done in Ghana, where a bank or yes, a financial can call you and tell that I'm calling from GBC Bank, Ghana Limited. We are updating our customers' records, so kindly update us with your current information, blah blah blah. So what do? You give those information on phone. The person have access to your platform, and then gets into your system, retrieves money, or that's what they want to do with your banking account. So that's what. But like I said, very good and reputable e-commerce websites are putting in or have put in measures to make buying and selling online safer.
Right. So we'll come back to that. But just recently, very, very recently, we had government's websites, not just one, had been hacked.
Yes.
How did that happen?
Well, I think it happened yesterday morning. We all woke up yesterday morning and we heard the news. We made some few calls, and truly, almost 12 of governments, that's the domain extension.gov.gh websites, have been hacked, including the ghana.gov.gh. We're all sad because we thought everything has been put in place. But when a website with a government domain extension or a website which is a country code top level domain is hacked, it means we must sit up. You know, some websites are on the same server with the organization's email. So assuming you are on that platform and the site is hacked and they attempt to go into the mail server, what happens to your emails?
I'm exposed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if there are confidential emails that you've been exchanging with the Director General, you've been exposed. You understand? And one thing we must also not forget is that some hackers are very generous. When they hack the websites, they inform you that I've hacked the websites and all that. Others will not tell you. They'll continue to go to other areas on your server, like they did to Sony. Get all the emails, get all the information, get all the records, and even download movies which have not been released.
Right.
Yeah. So for some, they are generous, at least they will tell you. Some will just deface the index page, that's the home page.
So what does this mean for all of us as Ghanaians?
Yeah, I mean, it is not, the issue is not just, like you said, not just about the National Information Technology Agency, that's NITA, but for you and I. For instance, we sometimes, of course, it's good to take work home to continue working from home. But when you are using this computer, which is on the government network, because we know it's secured, the antivirus and everything is being worked on, you take this machine home and then you plug it into a different network. You expose it. So you see, I mean, we need to start looking at user policies, accepted policies. Every institution must start looking at policies that would control the use of computers within the office sector, computers outside the office sector, and what kind of activities you can do for the office outside the office network. And these are policies that you must start looking at. So when you don't go by the policy, you are penalized.
So at the beginning of our conversation, when you were trying to define for us what hacking means, you also said that use this analogy about a weak door lock or weak systems, or meaning that somebody somewhere didn't do something right. Is that what it is in this case?
That's not always the case. I mean, if you are provided with a laptop and the office decides not to give you an antivirus, that's not your fault. Or if the IT manager writes to the Director General and says that, please, we need to update our antivirus, we need to buy antivirus, and the director says that there's no money, it's not your fault. So
but in this case, it will be the director's fault then.
Of course, with the director, but the director says that we've not received our warrant for this year, so we don't have money. Then it goes to controller.
Yes, until we find out who. So in this case, what really happened? What went wrong where?
Well, you mean for
our system, our website?
No. I mean, I'm not talking about that in terms of this, but I'm just saying that.
I understand, but I specifically want to come to our websites being hacked. What went wrong?
Yeah, I think there were some weaknesses somewhere.
But you haven't been able to establish.
Well, exactly I'm not supposed to establish that. Maybe from the Ministry of Communications and from NITA, I'm not supposed to establish that.
So, from where you sit as an IT expert, what is our capacity in terms of fighting against hackers?
Well, to be very sincere with you, you cannot stop hackers from hacking. Let's have that at the back of our minds. What we can do is prevent, put measures in place. Of course, what happened to the portal, the website, is an alert to tell that something is not strong somewhere. Our systems, our firewalls, and other security must be put in place. You understand? So then it means we should work at putting those kind of preventive measures. But you cannot stop hackers from hacking. They'll hack today, they'll hack tomorrow, and they'll hack forever. And in fact, hacking didn't start yesterday. Hacking started several years ago. Serious and very reputable installations have been hacked. NASA has been hacked. The Canadian government system was hacked. And in fact, a lot of documents were exposed. Several have been hacked.
So what does this mean again for us as individual users of the internet, especially now that we have all these social media outlets, Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram? What kind of information should we not be putting in there?
You see, you have to look at the kind of computers you use, whether your computers are secured, are protected. Our normal machines, our normal PCs, our normal laptops. Have you been updating your antivirus? Because we have what we call the Trojan programs, which are sent through instant messengers, like the Yahoo Messenger, and all that. Sometimes you go to your Facebook and then you've received a message. Yes, I think I saw on your wall that you've won. Was it a text message or
a text
an
message?
Yes. Yes. Or so in an email you've won several millions,
of Ghana cedis.
And you ask yourself, where from this email? Exactly. Some they send through your messenger. And during our last conversation, I said that when you receive any unknown message, don't open. You see, as soon as you open, it starts installing certain files onto your machine. And when your machine shuts down, it informs remotely the hacker that the machine is off. When the machine starts, it tells the hacker the machine has started.
Wow.
So it remotely tells the software, go here, get this, get that. You understand? Because it's a code that instructs the software on what to do on your machine. So go here, go there, go get this information for me, and that's that. So if you've saved passwords on your machine and you're a target, it's very easy. Sometimes people will say that, oh, I cannot access my email account again, and that's forever. I mean, because when they hack into, they change everything, and you cannot access your mail system again. And there are several forms by which they get into your system.
Wow.
So you must be very careful. The kind of things, and you know, some people use computers as if the computers can do no harm to them.
And by computers, we now refer to all these as computers.
Exactly, all these,
the smartphones and
all these.
And all that.
And you see, sometimes we forget to read. So the messages that we receive on our phones when we are installing programs.
Yeah.
You go to the Apple Store or the Google Play Store, because friends are like, oh, there's this software. Good. You go for the software, you download. Look, when you download, there are certain instructions that you have to accept or deny. Some even ask you whether you should give them the permission to access your contacts and your credentials on the phone. And you say yes. And you think when you talk about credentials and things on your phone, you think it's just your name and your email? It goes into your Gmail and your email accounts. Yes.
Wow.
And it takes information. So I even advise that if you are going to use some of these phones, get an email address that you don't use often, that you don't use in transacting business for that. Because most of these will request for an email address before you be able to, yes. And once you accept, some of these softwares, some of these applications are very dangerous. So you think everything is fine, but somebody sitting somewhere is monitoring your conversation on Facebook, your conversation everywhere. Because as soon as you save any information on the machine, it picks that information and you use it for whatever you want to use it for.
Wow. And you said I shouldn't be scared.
Yeah, you shouldn't be scared. You just have to be careful.
So far, you haven't given me any hope not to be scared.
I have.
I mean, I've been scared from the beginning.
Yes, and I've told you.
I'm on social media, and I guess thousands, many of
millions.
Millions.
Look, even on Facebook alone,
yes.
if Facebook were to be a country, it would be the third largest in the world.
Wow. And we are also exposed, because it means when I type in my password and I think that it's my secret code, it's really not a secret code to some people.
Exactly. That is, if you've already made your computer, your phone vulnerable, exposed.
All right. We have on the screen right now some shots of hacking. I don't know how it's done, but my producers have it there. So what's going on here?
Yeah, I think that's an ATM. Yeah.
Okay. And that's another source through which hacking can be done.
Yes, in fact, people are now using ATM, and they don't even have the ATM cards, but they are able to. Yes, and some too actually have.
You mean without the card, they are still able to withdraw money? How is that?
That is done. See.
Okay. So this is a phone connected to a computer, like, is there a server or something? Computer
to the phone. You know, so the software is on the phone.
Yes.
Yes. So it's connected to the ATM. So it has access to the ATM.
Yeah.
So the ATM interface is now on the phone.
Wow.
And for some too, they have secret cameras, hidden cameras close to the ATMs. So now it's manipulating the system.
Huh. So again, the small amount of money I have in my account.
I don't know why you're talking about small money in your account. Because if you have
small.
Yeah, so then you are not a target.
But small is relative. I mean, if I have 1,000 cedis in my account, somebody could think that that's a lot of money.
Well, yes, but then I don't think you'll be a target. They know you've been talking about small money.
No, but that's me. But how about you, who has millions of Ghana cedis in your account? If but it's serious business here. So this is what goes on.
Exactly.
And so it's almost everywhere. It's not just with the phone, but with the ATM as well.
Yes, with the ATM as well. With every other thing.
So we still have some. My producers are doing a good job trying to show us, just give us a picture of what it looks like, what hackers do when they are really hacking. And
yeah, so this is the process.
Yeah. Wow. We're living in dangerous times. It's as if ICT has brought us some ease. You know, with the click of a button, I'm able to communicate with my cousin who lives in the US. But at the same time, with the click of that same button, a lot of evil can be done.
Yes, but like I said, and that's what I've been saying. I've been telling you shouldn't be scared, because you should understand that where robbers are, you don't go there. Where armed robbers are, you don't pass there.
But they come to the house. You don't invite them. They break in.
Yes, they break in. But then, if you know they're definitely breaking, what do? You protect yourself. You make sure that you change all your locks. You make sure that everything is well. If you need to speak to the private security companies, and there's this other one, Hedge Law. Yes, that system that when you send a text message, it goes to a server that alerts the security people to come to the location to assist in arresting the robbers. Yes, so definitely yes, we live in very dangerous times, but there's nothing we can do. We have to start protecting ourselves. We have to start taking precautions, and for institutions, we have to start putting measures in place, like having the policies in place, making sure that our systems are updated. Because the information I got was that most of these websites have not been updated in terms of the models or the web the extensions within the content managers. They've not been updated, so then it opens up for hackers to penetrate.
Wow. So the UK, for instance, has an act that protects or seeks to discourage people from misusing computers. What are we doing here in Ghana?
Yes, I know we have the Electronic Transaction Act 2008. Yes, and that makes provision for this kind of issues, especially electronic environment, electronic tools and gadgets. Yes, so I think that is in place. Yeah.
Wow. And so it is in place, but again, we say that Ghana, we have too many laws, yet they don't work. Is it working?
Yeah, I'm sure it works. Probably because we've not get into an issue that's part of the law, but it works. It works because there are conditions and issues or what has to be done when you infringe on these laws and acts.
So hacking is real.
It's real.
We are living in it.
We are living in it.
You have already told us that you don't go to where armed robbers are, and you need to lock your doors against armed robbers. Well, against armed robbers. Just that?
Yes, not just that. So when it comes to our infrastructure, our networks, times are changing and our systems are dynamic. So you must always make sure that you update your system and make sure that you have the latest updates for your systems, your network. You must also sign up to a knowledge base. So let's say if you are using a Joomla CMS for your website, you must sign up to the Joomla community or if you're using Drupal, sign up to the Drupal community. If you're using WordPress, sign up to the WordPress community, and make sure that you read about the latest information. And some few months ago, there was a release from the Drupal community that hackers are attempting to hack through Drupal websites because they found some vulnerabilities and weaknesses within the system. Yes. So some of us were alerted, and you have to do the updates and make sure that everything is fine. Yes, you must also make sure that your firewalls are also very strong. And access, you should know who you give access to and at what level you give to that person. Well, some people shouldn't be super administrators. You know, they should just be administrators. You must also make sure that you monitor the performance of your website. Okay, we talk about the Google Analytics, which gives you the performance of your website. So as you have that system in place, you're able to know how your website is performing. There are other tools like the Google Webmaster Tools that you can sign up to. When there's any problem with a site, it gives you an alert. Okay, so there are several of them. Okay, and one key thing is about the users. For some of us, we think you just have to press the stats button, you boot the machine, and then you are there. Okay, there should be a user policy. Okay, this policy will stipulate how things has to be done. When you're on the network, this is what you have to do. When you see this and that, don't click. Call the IT person to this and that for you. Don't introduce foreign materials or foreign gadgets to the system. When this is done, you don't have a problem. I have a sample policy that I'll later send to your mail, so that if viewers would want to see how it looks like and how they can implement in their various organizations, institutions, they can contact you and then get the samples, look at it, because it's very important. When you have such, it's like a rule that governs usage. Because even if you have a very good antivirus, even if you've protected the system, and within your network, and I take this computer home and I introduce it into a different network, what happens? By the time I get to the office the following day, I've introduced a new
broken that protocol.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's very, very important that we start looking at policy and making sure that not just policy sitting somewhere, but every staff must sign to that policy. Keep a copy.
Wow.
Yeah.
And beyond the websites, we now have Viber.
This is a WordPress. This is a WordPress backend, admin backend, which means that the hacker is trying to gain access to the backend.
Backend?
Yes.
Meaning what?
Okay, the back end, for websites, we have front end and back ends. The front end is what you see as a user.
Right.
And then the back end is where the administrator goes into to be able to update the site, make changes to the site. And it is through the back end that you can have control over the site. So if I'm not able to access the site through the server, and I'm able to access the site through this place, I can still have control over the site. Wow. Because when I enter, I'll be able to change all users. All those who are administrating or administering the website.
Wow.
So this is a WordPress backend. Yes, so yes, it has been entered. Yes. So
and
so
this is a hacker at work.
So what they normally do is that as soon as they enter, they just go to the users. They change, because you see, when you realize that a problem is on their site, what do you do? You go to the backend to so they go there first, change user, then go to the the index page, that's the first page, and then put in their own codes like they are doing now.
So when a website is hacked and your information, confidential information, has been accessed by somebody who is not supposed to have access to those information, what do you do? Delete everything?
No. Yeah. See, when a website is hacked, and I forgot to add that you must also make sure that you update, you back up your website as often as possible, especially if it is a news website or you distribute a lot of content very often. You make sure that you back up very often.
Right.
So when you back up the site and the site is hacked, you only restore with the backed up. Because sometimes when the site is hacked, I mean, it is destroyed to a level that you cannot even rewrite the codes, because some codes are deleted. But if you have a backup, you just restore. And I also advise that when you are backing up your website, back up on a different network, not on the same network. Because very smart hackers, when they attack this and the other one is on the same network, it's easier to get it. But if it's on a different network and this network is attacked, you just pick this
and
bring it back.
Wow. Just before we go, let's extend our conversation beyond computers and look at the communication devices we have, mobile phones and iPads and tabs and all those things. I made a call once, and the person I was calling wasn't supposed to know. I mean, I didn't expect the person to know who I was, and then he mentions me by name. How did you know I was the one? Because we haven't met before, you don't know me. He says, you're on Truecaller.
Exactly.
What's Truecaller? I didn't know. And so my information is out there without my knowledge.
You see, sometimes when you say without your knowledge, I tend to smile. What is without your knowledge? A lot of things, you've signed up to a lot of things that you don't know.
Wow.
Right? And for the Truecaller, when Truecaller came, people thought it was magic. But it's not magic. When I installed Truecaller on my phone, I allowed Truecaller to save all the contacts I have on my phone. So if I've saved your contact on my phone as Abdul, Alaji, Moomen, it saves it. It puts it into its Truecaller database. So as we install Truecaller, our contacts are being put together, stored somewhere on a server. So when that number is dialed, it goes onto the server to look for, and then it retrieves. That's all.
Wow.
So, but if you don't have Truecaller, and your friend has, saved it, or somebody else has saved it, it's in that database, waiting for somebody to call, then your name appears.
But the other issue is, everybody's signing up to an application, and it's become the order of the day, and I might feel left behind if I don't join as well, because all my friends are either on Viber, on WhatsApp, and so on and so forth. I go to sign in for that application, and then there's a very lengthy, thesis for me to read, and that thesis comes with very tiny font sizes. I cannot read everything. At the end of it all, it's just accept or decline. I mean, is it not? Can't we do something to make these people who develop these applications, to make a summary, to summarize all these things and say, look, these are the dangers and these are the benefits, so decline or accept, instead of writing this long thesis that nobody has time to read anyway?
You should have time to read. You should have time to read, because as soon as you click on accept, whatever they've stated in there, you've agreed to go by them. So whether they use your details whether they sell your contacts to make money, whatever they do with your details, whether they give to third parties, you've agreed.
And sometimes they write very beautifully, and when you sign for this, you get ABC. You are able to see that. And then in very small font sizes, it's written terms and conditions apply.
Yes.
Where are the terms and conditions?
Yeah, because you thought you are taking it for free. Those applications, a lot of funds went into doing that application, but you want it for free. So they also need your details to sell or to use for them to be able to pay for the application you're using for free. So please, when you see these lengthy theses, read, understand. Not because your friends are using these applications and you're enjoying, you also want to use. It could do you more harm than good.
So, Nii, finally, before we go, should I sign off Facebook and Twitter and WhatsApp, and should I sign off?
Don't sign out. Don't sign off.
Are you on any of them?
I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Viber. I'm on WhatsApp.
You are?
Yes.
Okay.
I develop applications.
But
yes, I have applications on Google.
But you are using a different email address.
Well, not on TV. I'm using.
I haven't seen your phone before. Did you bring it here?
I'm
just asking this question because
I use a very simple phone.
I know, because I've been wondering why people who are really into IT and know a lot about IT hardly use any complicated phones and gadgets like the one I'm having and brandishing around.
I use a very simple phone, and the Android tablet I use, I have a different. I don't even know the number, and I use a different email address for it.
People, that's a sign for all of us. We should try as much as possible, and if that's what you're saying, to dissociate our real lives from our virtual lives, because living a virtual life can get you into very virtual problems. Thank you very much, Charles Nii Ayiku Ayiku, who is the chairman of the, what's it again, the New Media and Research Committee of IPR. I know him to be my lecturer. He gave me some very good lectures when I was doing the program. Thank you very much, sir. I'm really grateful that as your student, I've had the opportunity of asking you some questions this evening. And I hope to see you again tomorrow when we come your way again with another edition of Moomen Tonight. We'll be with you. Until then, you enjoy the rest of our programs. Good night. Wow.